and welcome to the QuiltCon 2020 registration walkthrough video. I'm Elizabeth Daxon, Director of Events for the Modern Quilt Guild. QuiltCon 2020 registration will open on Tuesday, June the 25th at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Modern Quilt Guild members. For non-members, QuiltCon registration will open on July the 10th at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The QuiltCon schedule is currently available. You can view the QuiltCon schedule in one of two ways. You can utilize the catalog, or you can utilize the interactive schedule. The catalog is a large PDF document with all of the QuiltCon events, happenings, pretty pictures, lots of words, all that jazz. The interactive schedule is a little bit more robust and clickable. It is an internet-based version of the catalog, still has all of the same information, but it's just a little bit more web-friendly. Let me show you those now. As I mentioned before, members get to register first for QuiltCon. The easiest way to make sure that your membership is up to date and that you're ready for registration is to make sure that you are receiving MQG member newsletters. If you are, then your email address is correct in our membership system. The email address where you receive your newsletters is the exact same email address that you'll need to use when you register for QuiltCon. If, however, you do not currently receive those emails, what you want to do is make sure to email us at info@themodernquiltguild.com for assistance. Perhaps there's a typo in your email address. If you have received an email recently inviting you to join the MQG to get early QuiltCon registration, make sure that you do join by June the 20th in order to access member registration. I find that it's really helpful to set realistic expectations when going through the registration process. It's great to hope for the best, but at the same time, be realistic with yourself. Workshops, they sell out. They just do. Some workshops sell out in just a few minutes. Others take hours on registration opening day. Others yet still take weeks or months. There are only so many seats in each individual workshop that we have. And once each of those seats has been sold, they're filled. We do have waitlists, and I'll talk about those in a moment, but it's important to remind yourself also that there's so much more at QuiltCon other than just workshops. There are great booths and quilts to see on the quilt show floor. There's lectures. We very rarely sell out when it comes to lectures, with the exception perhaps of our featured lecture. There are free demonstrations on the show floor throughout the event. There's also social events in the evening, from the MQG swap to the individual member meetup and so on. So there's definitely much more to see than just workshops. But if workshops are really what your jam is, keep this in mind. The registration system will require you to modify your registration if a workshop that you've added to your registration has sold out before you complete your registration. Because the way those seats work is that they are not confirmed until your payment is finalized, meaning that your registration has been completed. Some registrants tell me that registering for one workshop at a time has been most successful for them. Again, it's not necessarily something we advocate, but it is something that many registrants have told me has been successful for them, because it does take a few minutes to go back and remove an item from your registration that has sold out. And if you have other workshops in your cart, by the time you get to the checkout page, it's entirely possible that they may have sold out as well. As I mentioned before, we do have waitlists for workshops once they sell out. Each waitlist is capped at 50 registrants. There have been a few times that we've gone through all 50 folks on a waitlist in order to fill seats in a workshop, but it's not been frequent, so that's why we cap that at 50. If someone cancels their seat in a workshop, what we do is we refer to the waitlist to fill that seat. One of the neat things about the way they work is that they bookmark or timestamp each waitlist person based on the time that they add themselves to the waitlist. So if Susie Quilter joined the waitlist at 10:01 and Jana Quilter joined the waitlist at 10:05, Susie is going to get offered that seat before Jana is. Before November 30th, we will contact waitlist folks via email and give them a 72-hour deadline to respond as to whether or not they want the waitlist spot that we're offering to them. After that time, that window shortens to about 48 hours, and then come January and February, it shortens a little bit more. If you don't respond by the time indicated in the email, we do move on to the next person. The waitlist emails will always come from us at register@themodernquiltguild.com. So it's a good idea to go ahead and save that email address in your contacts so that you can prevent it from winding up in your spam or your junk folder. And to check your email regularly. Make a note if you are hoping for waitlist seats on your calendar to check your email on a regular basis if you are not normally an email checker for this particular email address you're using for your registration. Speaking of emails, there are roughly about 3 different sorts of emails that you may receive from us outside of a waitlist offer email. One is the confirmation email, and you should receive that within 5 to 10 minutes of your registration being completed. Another is a modification confirmation email. You'll receive one of those anytime you go in and make changes to your registration, whether it's additions or removals. There's also a supply list email. You'll receive that email right around September 30th, and that's going to give you some instructions on how to access supply lists for workshops. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. If you have questions about the registration system or QuiltCon itself, don't hesitate to email us at register@themodernquiltguild.com. If you have questions about your membership, want to just make sure that everything is all set for registration, you can reach us at info@themodernquiltguild.com. To access the QuiltCon 2020 schedule and catalog, simply go to quiltcon.com/catalog-schedule. On the left-hand side, you'll see the PDF version of the catalog, which you can click on to access. And on the right-hand side, you'll see the interactive schedule. If you click on the interactive schedule, it's going to go ahead and take you right into that system right away. And you'll see you can navigate by day, type, etc. If you click on the blue hyperlink on the left-hand side that says My Schedule, you'll see it ask for some login information. This system is completely independent of any other system that we have. So you'll have to hit sign up in order to create an account on this particular system. You'll add your first name, last name, and email address. And once you click sign up, it's going to go ahead and create that for you so that you can save any information in that system that you would like to save to build your own custom registration plan. Okay, when you receive your member newsletter indicating the QuiltCon registration website, all you want to do is save that email in a safe place. You don't need to bookmark anything at all, just save that email so that as soon as registration opens, you can click on the link in that email and it's going to look something like this. Now, if you happen to access this page before registration opens, this magical blue register button, it won't be there because registration won't yet be open. But as soon as it does pop up, you can go ahead and click on it to get started with the registration process. The very first screen you're going to see is going to ask you for your first name and your last name, as well as your email address. Now, just because I want to show you what happens if you put in an email address that's not accepted as a member email address, if you hit next, you're going to see a note that says, registration for this event is not available. Please contact the planner for more information. That is your note telling you that your email address is not one that's being recognized as a member. So go back and check the way that you typed your email address. I know in years past we've helped a lot of folks who discovered that they were mistyping something, putting an A where there should have been an S, for example, and whatnot. Okay, so now I've gone ahead and fixed my lovely typo. Now I'm going to hit next, and it's going to allow me to move into the registration system. The very first thing that you should see on this screen is going to indicate to you that you are registering as a member. All the prices that you will see reflect discounted member pricing. Anything that's highlighted in red is going to indicate that it's required. It will also have an asterisk next to it. To select your guild chapter, and again, this is not required information. It's certainly something you can add if you choose to, and it may also auto-populate based on the information we have in the registration system, in the membership system for you. To select or change this, all you do is click on Select Answer and find what it is you're looking for. You can start to type in part of your guild's name, for example. I'm trying to think of a really good one. Oh, we've got one in, let's see, something that's toward the end of the alphabet. Let's try something like, Oh, what's a state at the end of the alphabet? What about a state one that has north in it? I can type in those words, just north, and start to see all the guilds after I hit search that have north in their name. I can also reset that if I didn't find the guild I was looking for. But once you find what you're looking for, select the little circle button next to it, hit select, and it's going to then populate that in that field. So I see I've got 3 red things I need to pay attention to here. So the first one is regarding how we utilize your email address and or cell phone number, which is strictly to contact you regarding your registration. There is no other reason we would utilize that information that you share with us in this system other than regarding your QuiltCon registration. For example, if your instructor for a workshop that you signed up for happens to fall terribly ill and we sadly have to cancel the workshop, we need to be able to contact you. That's the primary reason that we ask for your cell phone, because we know that when people are traveling, a lot of times they're not checking their email. We've also got a question about the MQG community guidelines, which you can click on this hyperlink to read if you've not already. They were instituted by the Diversity and Inclusion Task Force earlier this calendar year. And then this last question pertains to whether or not you want to receive special offers and such from sponsors via email, both in the month leading up to QuiltCon as well as the month following QuiltCon. After that time, any permission here that you give has ended. So it's only for a short period of time. Last but not least on this first page are the terms and conditions, which detail the refund and cancellation policy. So you have a moment to take a look through those. You'll also find those on the QuiltCon website as well so that you can read them well in advance. They're also published in the PDF catalog for the event. Once you finish the page, hit next. If you missed any of those red bold fields, it will make you fill those out before moving to the next page. So the second page of the registration system allows you to select some big items. One being the All Access Lecture Pass, which includes all lectures for the entire duration of the event. Another is the Thursday Lecture Pass, the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday. You don't have to select any of those. They are entirely optional. The one thing you must select, and it will do this for you, is the 4-day show pass. This is your admission into the event. And as long as you're registering as a member by no later than November 30th, 2019, this will appear as complimentary. It's our gift to you as thanks for your membership. So we move on to the next screen. This is going to be what I like to call the laundry list. This is the list that includes every single item you can sign up for at QuiltCon. Now, before you come to this list, I strongly suggest you spend some time with the catalog and or the interactive schedule so that you can be prepared and not need to be hunting through this list for things. The easiest way to navigate this page is to use some computer shortcuts. I work on a Mac, so I'm going to use my Command button and hold it down and tap the letter F on my screen. On my keyboard. And it's going to bring up this tiny, tiny search box up here at the top right. If you're on a PC, you can use the Control button, hold that down with one finger, and then tap the F on your keyboard to bring up the same sort of thing. Now, the workshop that I have my heart set on is ice dyeing. I know there's a couple of them, but I know if I type in the word ice, I'm very quickly going to find it. Now, on a Mac, it's going to automatically bring me to the very first one that appears in the list. On a PC, if I remember correctly, you do need to tap the return or enter button in order to go to the very first list, or the first item that matches what you've typed in. Now, you'll see up here in the right-hand top corner, it does say that there are 3 matches, and I can use these arrows forward and backward to get to the other 3, but the one I want is the very first one. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. I can also click on any other items that I may want to attend. This list is ordered by date, then time, then subject or category. So you'll see there are these bold italic categories throughout. Many of them repeat because there are different time periods. There's 9 to 12, 9 to 5, 9 to 9:45 for the special exhibit tour, and so on. So you'll see many of these things repeat throughout. The one other thing I wanted to make sure to take is toward the end, because it's on Sunday. So I've just scrolled down to the bottom. Oh, here it is. Choose your EPP adventure. Sunday AM, FDP 204. The other thing that you can utilize in terms of searching is you can use those codes. That's what they're there for, to make this process easier. So if I wanted to be sure to take IMP 004, I can type that in and it's automatically going to bring me right to that particular item. So I'm going to go ahead and hit, yep, I want that. And then I'm going to scroll to the very bottom and hit next. A very, very important note to keep in mind about this particular page. This system will allow you to overlap sessions. There's a very big, important, very, very common sense sort of reason to that. The registration for the show pass means that technically you have signed up for something that takes place during the entire event. If we did not allow you to overbook yourself, for example, booking a workshop in addition to that 4-day show pass, you wouldn't be allowed to have any workshops at all. So that's the main reason why we allow for that. That being said, if you happen to overbook yourself, that is something that does not get exempted from the return policy or the cancellation policy. So just take special care when we get to the review screen in a moment to make sure that you don't have any double bookings that you don't want. Some folks, for example, they'll pick one of the lecture passes, but still choose to attend something that takes place during that day because they want to have both, and that's okay. We're certainly not going to impede your choice there, but it is something to keep in mind. So now that I'm sure that that is the one thing, those are the three things, I got 3, that's right. The 3 things I want, I hit the next button, excuse me. And I'm to the summary page. Up here at the top, it'll always show you where you're at in the grand scheme of things. So I'm on the summary page. It's going to show me really everything that's important that I've told the registration system so far. So I see my 3 workshops that I wanted. I see my 4-day show pass. I also see that it shows me the dates for each of these things, and I see, nope, that's not a conflict with that. That's not a conflict with that. Perfect. They're A-okay with me. I can hit the next button. Now, if, for example, you see something that's incorrect, or you clicked on a workshop you didn't intend to, do not hit cancel. That is not the button you want to hit. That cancels everything you've done in the registration process so far, if you hit that button. Rather, the button you want is edit. Right here next to your agenda, you can click edit. And that is going to allow you to come back in to the registration system and make whatever changes you may need to. It's going to bring you back to that laundry list page so that if there's something you need to remove from your registration, you can do so at that time. Okay, now that I'm sure that this is the right agenda that I want, I'm going to hit the next button to move on to the payment screen. Okay, so I've got all my items. Looking good. Now, because this is a test, there is a discount code section. This will not appear when you guys see the registration system. It's only here so that I can get through the process and show you what will happen at the very, very end. Okay, so now I have moved through this process. I'm just double checking to make sure that I've got the 3 items in particular that I wanted. I'm going to hit the finish button. Oh no! One of my items has reached full capacity. This was what I spoke about earlier. So one of the items I'm registering for, ice dyeing Thursday morning, is now full. It indicates that I have to modify my registration because it is full by 1. It's oversold at this point, is what that's indicating, meaning that there is not room for me 1 more. So I have to remove it from my registration. In order to do that, what you need to do is hit the previous button. That's going to bring you to that summary page. And then you want to look for that magical edit button we talked about before. Not cancel, but edit. So if I go back through, I first am brought to the short list of large passes. Then after that, I get to that big long laundry list. And if at least one of your selected sessions has been removed because it is at capacity. Okay, so just because I want to make sure it did, let's see here. Aha. So when something shows up when something appears to be sold out, this is how it will look in the registration system. Capacity full. Now apparently I have not turned on the wait list for that particular item, so that is not showing up properly. But what should happen after something gets sold out, it should automatically kick you out of that session, but you do have to go back to this page in order for it to do that. Then it will allow you to join a wait list if that option is turned on properly. So stand by just one moment. We're going to go back here and go previous and come right back to this page because by then it should be fixed. So let's try that one more time. Okay, so it's still telling me that one of my sessions was removed, and there it is. Okay, add name to waitlist. So by clicking that button, that automatically puts me on the wait list. And again, the registration system, it's smart, but it cannot do this for you. Anytime something that you are checking out with gets sold out, it will require you to go back to that laundry list page. You can then either just hit next and move forward to the end of the registration process, or you can add yourself to the wait list for that particular item. Once you're all finished, you're going to hit the finish button after you put in your payment information. And it's going to bring you to this screen right here. It's going to show you what you've signed up for. It's going to show you what you've paid. It's going to show you any other important information. So for example, I am on the wait list for ice dyeing, so it's going to show me the materials fee for ice dyeing. I am also signed up for Choose Your EPP Adventure, so it's going to show me the materials fee and what it includes, so that I'm aware of that and prepared when I come to class. If for any reason you need to make any changes to this registration, you can do that by hitting the modify button. The other options that you've got up here, the print options, allow you to print this screen if you like paper. You can also do printer friendly. And last but not least, you can cancel your registration from this page. If you decide, I cannot go to QuiltCon, or something comes up and you need to cancel registration is the button that you're going to select. And that is how the registration works for QuiltCon 2020. Again, if you have any registration questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. For a registration or QuiltCon questions, email us at register@themodernquiltguild.com. And for any membership-related questions, please email us at info@themodernquiltguild.com. Thank you and have a great day.